Hello, my name's Amanda Foxon-Hill, and in this video, which I'm hoping might be still short, but we never know, I want to reflect on some characters of films and people in the outside world that I've found a connection with, if you like, or that's resonated with me. And now I know that I'm autistic, it was clear that those things were resonating with my autistic self. So that's what I'm going to do. Hopefully that makes sense. Bear with me. Okay. So I'm going to kick off with a bit of an odd one. Well, when I say it's a bit of an odd one, maybe it isn't, but it seems odd because when I mention it, people are like, whatever. Anyway, this is it. So first of all, it's a reflection of how I felt, how I feel even as a parent, and especially how I felt as a parent of young children. Again, not knowing I was autistic, but obviously being very autistic. The character that most resembled the way that I mother, I guess, was Mallory, I think her name was Mallory, in Netflix Bird Box. So this was a film, it was a really traumatic film and pretty horrific. Some people didn't like it, it was quite scary. It was these invisible monsters that if you look at them you want to commit suicide, or you know, it sends you crazy in some ways or whatever. But I really resonated with the lead character. I think it was played by Sandra Bullock. I'm never very good at remembering these things. But anyway, she really resonated with me for a number of reasons. In the beginning we find out she's pregnant. And before anything bad starts happening, she doesn't really want to engage in the pregnancy and hasn't got a name for the kid, or, you know, whatever. She's a bit standoffish, a bit cold, I guess. I resonated with that, not because I felt like that. I was very... you know, engage with my pregnancy, and although in the first instance with my first one it felt really alien, but I was fine with it. I was, you know, I was planning things, I was happy, and I was thinking of names and all the rest of it, so that wasn't it so much. But it was more of a that pragmatic distance, I guess, something like that, that there's that person and there's me sort of thing, the separation. You know, I certainly felt that I was going to be a mother and I was going to have a baby, but I wasn't going to become someone else, and this baby wasn't going to become me. And I sort of felt there was a little bit of that in the character. Maybe it was just the acting, or maybe it was my projection. Anyway, so there was that. Then as the film progressed and it gets much more terrifying, and everybody's who looks at these monsters is, you know, going absolutely out of their minds, and, you know, horrible things are happening. You know, the main character is sort of left, and she's left with her baby that she gives birth to in this, and with another baby that she has to look after. So these two little ones. Anyway, fast forward, and she ends up having to care for them, and it was her way of caring for them and nurturing them and getting them into safety that really resonated with me, because for me the lead character demonstrated a very animalistic protection, you know, like a mother wolf or mother bear type of thing, but not in a fluffy way. You know, she was very practical and did what you had to do, and was very quick to delegate you know, autonomous tasks to these children, even though they were very young, and saying, right, we've got to do this, you need to do this role, you need to do that role, we want to get it done. And I guess that was it, so that's taken me a bit to explain, but her role, the lead character of Bird Box, made me think of me as a parent. Now, looking at what Bird Box was all about, it's about mental health in society, and it's a reflection of the whole idea that if you don't acknowledge something, if you don't look, if you don't see it, then it won't affect you, it won't hurt you. You can carry on living your best life in your best bubble. Well, I guess for me now, well, for me forever, and certainly for me now reflecting, being autistic, it's often felt like there is, although I've described my autistic bubble as a bubble, the world is not a bubble. The world is raw, and it's intense, and it's real, and it's full of inconvenient and traumatizing truths, to be honest. So the way I go out into the world is, I find it difficult to unsee things, to downplay things. I do tend towards a catastrophic mindset, which may be some other psychological problem I have, I don't know. But it's very hard for me not to see things as they are, and to then or even to extrapolate to the worst thing. So this whole idea of, well, if you don't look over there and you don't see it, it hasn't happened, and you know, you can keep numbing yourself with this, that or the other, that's never worked for me. There's nothing that will numb me. as far as I'm aware. I seem to be having my eyes wide open. So Bird Box, that was what it was about. I really related to the main character as a mother, as a person in the world, and as somebody who's got their eyes open and sees all this stuff going on, and oddly enough just survives while everybody else goes crazy, I guess. So it's kind of like that flipping on its lid. You know, once you accept that mental difference or mental illness or the mentally ill nature of the normal world, you can actually get through it. And that's what it kind of made me think. So that was that. I kind of talked a bit longer, but I'm going to carry on because there's a couple more. Another thing in popular culture, I shouldn't say thing, it's a person. I watched a series called Nanette, a documentary performance by Hannah Gadsby, the comedian, the Nanette piece that she did. I can't even get my words out, and she did a few more as well. I've watched all of them, and Douglas was really good, Nanette was really good, her general stuff is really good. Be nice to see the new stuff, but I didn't get tickets, not coming to Sydney. But anyway, watching her perform Nanette, she's very deep and very personal and she's very vulnerable in it. I watched that, again, not knowing that I was autistic at that point, but kind of suspecting I might be. And I watched it, and she'd only just been diagnosed, I think, so it wasn't really a big thing. She wasn't like this big autistic icon or anything. But I watched that and thought, oh my God, yes, that is so... I relate. And one of the things that stuck in my mind about Hannah when she was going through her story and going through the Nanette dialogue was that... one simple thing, how she said, well, don't look at my face, or she said something like this, you know, don't rely on my face to tell you what I'm thinking, you know, because my face and my words or my face and my feelings don't always match up. And I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, sometimes I get it all together and I look happy and I am happy and everyone's fine, or sometimes I look like I'm going to murder somebody and I'm just thinking, or I'm away with the fairies or whatever, you know, it's just weird. I remember when I was younger, I actually remember consciously thinking, right, I'm going to walk down the street today and I'm going to have this pleasant medium smile day, and that's how I'm going to do the day. And I did, and I don't know, people did smile at me, but I'm now thinking on reflection, maybe they thought I was just weird or going through some kind of weird thing, or... I don't know, it probably didn't look normal. But anyway, that's two things. So there's Bird Box and there's Hannah Gadsby and Nanette. Those two things really resonated with me. Yes. Trying to think of... Oh, I'll tell you another one. Okay, so the other one that I started watching when I was going through and thinking, well, maybe I am autistic after all, was Atypical, which is kind of very not me, because, you know, it's about a young lad. I can't remember his name. I'm really not good at those details. But anyway, it's a young lad who's autistic. When I say young, he's 18. He's living with his family. His mum drove me nuts in the show. Absolutely drove me nuts. In fact, I nearly didn't watch it because I thought her character was terrible. The dad was okay. The elder sister, yeah, actually younger sister, yeah, she was good. But anyway, there's a couple of things that he did in there. Very, very stereotypical autistic this time, and it is about him as an autistic character. But I was looking at that and thinking, you know, yes, to a point, you know, yes, a little bit... say a little bit socially awkward is understating it. He was very socially awkward, but he was also not, because he you know, he just got on with things. He just kept getting on with things. He'd just keep giving things another try, keep pushing forward, keep on with it. And I really related to that as well. And some of the other things, I mean, he went for a sleepover, the first one he'd done, and this is fictitious. So I think he did that when he was 18 and it all ended in a bit of a mess. But I remember going for sleepovers as a kid, and I was a lot younger. And for quite a long time, I really liked the idea of a sleepover, and I'd really give it a good go, but I'd really not be able to, and I'd have to go home because the smells were different, the routine's different, the bed's different, things are itchy, scratchy, weird sounds, bedtime's a different time, you know, like all of these sensory things just got to me in the night, usually by sort of 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and I'd have to go home. And I didn't think that was odd at all, by the way, because a lot of young kids can't do sleepovers. And I mean, I would have been at primary school, so maybe, I don't know, 8 to 10 or 11, something like that. But it's only since having my kids and watching them go off and do their thing, and other people's kids, and seeing how they behave and going, oh, that's similar to me, oh, that's, you know, that's just not ever, that I've realised that how I responded was probably, you know, quite extreme at times. And it wasn't so much that I wanted to go home and I was like over it. I was, you know, starting to lose my shit a little bit, really. I was starting to feel quite unsafe. To the point that I think sometimes my mum wondered whether anything had happened to me, and no, nothing ever had. It was just that it was just hard for me. So anyway, atypical was another one. So that's 3 that I can really think of that, on reflection, I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'm so similar to those.